So you're trying to get your affairs in order and you're thinking, well, do I need a will or should I do something else? And you're not sure. And, you know, frankly, one of the things that I've said to many of my clients over the years is, you know, I would never tell someone that I care about, you know, my own family, my parents, my brother, my sister, my loved ones, I would never recommend that they use a will. And you're probably wondering why. So we're going to get into that in just a minute. And we're also going to talk about solutions, what you should be doing instead of using a will. But before we dive into that, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you've enjoyed this video, click the thumbs up button, give us a like. Make sure you share the video with your friends, and let's get into it.
He watches the markets.
In the great city of Memphis, Tennessee.
If they raise rates tomorrow, it could be a sign of confidence.
The financial advisor extraordinaire.
He's with McAdams Group.
Of course, Wall Street doesn't like rising interest rates.
And I know people from all over the Memphis area come to visit you for help with their RMD.
David McAdams is with us.
David McAdams.
David McAdams.
There are exceptions to the rule.
That's very interesting, because that's kind of against conventional wisdom.
That's the insanity of it.
All right, so I said at the intro that I would never recommend to one of my loved ones to use a will. But why? I mean, I think a little bit of head knowledge makes sense for you to understand some basic things. What is a will? All a will is a legal document that upon your death is designed to hopefully distribute your assets of your estate to your loved ones, or a church or a charity or some institution, but it distributes the assets, right? If you think about the definition of estate planning, it's the accumulation, conservation, and distribution of your estate. And a will is one piece of an estate planning process, but it's a piece that you should not use, okay? Now, it's just a legal document to distribute your assets, but by the way, as an aside, some of you that are tuning in today, you either have a will or you don't have one, but I have some news for you. If you don't have a will, you actually do have a will. And see what happens if you die without anything in place. It's called dying intestate. And if you die intestate, I have some bad news for you. The state controls the distribution of your assets. Now, when this happens, what we've seen happen many times when people procrastinate and they fail to follow simple planning steps and they just don't get to it and they die. It happens, and now they've died intestate, and the court is deciding how to distribute their loved ones' assets. Guess what? Sometimes the heirs don't agree. In fact, they often disagree. And when they disagree, guess what happens? They get attorneys. And they fight over it, and they fight over it. And 2 or 3 years later, after fighting over it, guess who gets a chunk of the estate? It's not your loved ones, it's who? It's the attorneys. The attorneys love it when you use a will or you die intestate because they get to probate the estate. You should have zero probate. At McAdams Group, we believe that estate planning should be simple, easy, and inexpensive. And you should have no probate fees, no attorney costs. It shouldn't be that difficult to settle your estate. Now, another reason I would never use a will is because there's a huge misconception. People come in all the time and say, hey, David, I'm not going to have probate court. I have a will. They say that all the time. I'm not going to have probate. I have a will. I've got bad news for you. A will goes through probate. Because you have a will, you will have probate. When you die, certain assets are frozen by the municipality that you live in. In my local municipality, your assets are frozen for 4 months, and that gives opportunity for creditors and predators and people who want to come after the estate. You know, you always have the loved ones that come out of the woodwork, you know, the secret heirs that come out of nowhere and they say, oh, my Uncle Bobby promised he would pay for my son's college education. And now you're in probate court and creditors are trying to attach liens and come after certain assets. Even in a perfect probate scenario, if none of that happens, it usually takes about a year. Go Google the word probate. When you Google the word probate, it says to prove. So when you die, the executor goes through a court process. And why do they have to prove it? Because some people die with 5, 6 wills. Some people scratch out a will on their deathbed on a napkin. And the court has to determine which document they're going to allow the executor to use to settle and distribute the estate. By the way, you named an executor in your will. I've got news for you. That may or may not be your executor. Because you know what? Guess who appoints the executor? It's the court. And when do they appoint it? Through a probate process. So in a perfect world, you've got a will, you die, they open up a probate, and the court appoints your executor as the executor. And the estate's frozen, and it takes thousands and thousands of dollars in unnecessary court costs and attorney's fees. And that's the best case scenario. All right. Now, another reason I would never recommend a will to my loved ones is because I don't want them paying any court costs and attorney's fees just because they died. Okay? Your fees when you die for court costs and attorney's fees should be 0. Now, how does that work? Well, it depends on your municipality. It depends on where you live. If you look up the rules of probate in my municipality where I live, it says the court costs and attorney's fees can range from 1 to 8%. You heard that correctly. 1 to 8% plus additional costs. What does that mean? Plus additional costs. It's bananas. This is public information. You can go down to the courthouse. You can look up actual cases of people that died. Your neighbor died? Go check it out. See who got the diamond ring and who got the painting, and it's all in there. It's public. That's another reason I wouldn't recommend a will, is because it's a public process. And anybody can see your stuff, and then you're going to pay tens of thousands of dollars in unnecessary court costs and attorney's fees. Yet another reason I would not recommend a will for some of you is because many of you want to have what we call control from the grave. You know, you might have that son or daughter, or you might have a niece or nephew that you're giving some money to, but you don't really want them to get all the money and blow it on a Ferrari. And you know they're going to. They're going to say, oh, wow, let's plan a trip to Disney World. They're going to spend it all. They're going to blow it all. They're for whatever reason, they've kind of proven not to be the best manager of their own money. They don't make good financial decisions. Or you might have some core value that's important to you. You might want it to be used for education or some other thing that's really important to you. But the problem is when you use a will, you can't really control the distribution beyond the probate process unless you do one thing. Oh, this drives me crazy. You can set up something called a testamentary trust. A testamentary trust. Please don't do this. Don't do this. This is the number one. I'm just going to be blunt. It's some attorneys are bad people. Okay, can we disagree with it? In the world of attorneys, there are some good people and there are some bad people. And frankly, some of them are crooks. There's a law firm in my backyard, and I've been looking at these documents for 20 years, and it drives me crazy. People come in and they say, David, I have a trust. No, you don't. Your document says right here, last will and testament. But they believe they have a trust. Why do they believe they have a trust? Because the attorney said you have a trust. It's not a trust. They have what's called a testamentary trust. It's a will that when you die, sets up a trust after you die. Why? I don't get it. I know why. So 25 years ago, when I was first reading these legal documents, I said, why would it be set up this way? Doesn't that have probate court? And I know several estate planning attorneys, so I went to them and I would just test them and ask different questions. I'd say, hey, why would a law firm recommend a will and then inside the will set up a trust that only kicks in after you die? Why would they use a testamentary trust? And they'd always get this little Cheshire grin on their face. They'd say, oh, I know why they're doing that. That's because so they can probate the estate when the person dies. You know, I said this on another one of my videos, but I asked one of the estate planning attorneys once, I said, oh, hey, how's your practice going? How are you doing? And he looked at me and he said, well, we're just waiting on people to die. Just waiting on people to die. They love probate court. Never forget this. Estate planning should be simple, easy, and inexpensive. Okay? We're getting clients estate planning for 70% less than I paid for my own estate planning several years ago. It should be simple, easy, and inexpensive. But never forget this. The attorney makes a little bit of money if they set up your estate properly, but they make tens of thousands, even millions of dollars. I have a client whose father recently passed away, and he had the same CPA and same attorney for decades, but they put him in a will. The estate's worth $40 million. Do you know what the court costs and attorney's fees are going to be on that estate? You do the math, $40 million times 1 to 8% plus additional costs. It's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. The attorneys love to probate the will. They want everybody to get a will so they can take you through probate. And the last reason that I would not use a will is because most of my clients want to protect their loved ones from unforeseen divorces and lawsuits that could happen years and years after they inherit money. In fact, if I was to ask you this one simple question, how would you answer this question? If it was simple and easy and inexpensive to protect your children from unforeseen divorces and lawsuits after they inherit your money, would you want them to be protected or unprotected? Now, I'm going to wager that if you're like 90% of the people that come in our office, you probably said, yes, I'd love to protect my loved ones. But you know what? Good luck doing that with a will. All right. Now, I've got good news. There are solutions. I don't know which solution you need because I don't know your situation. We have a simple, easy process to help you determine that. And we have an inexpensive process on how to implement it. If you'd like to know how you can get your affairs in order and how you can avoid probate court, consolidate and simplify your affairs, and if it's important to you, protect your loved ones from unforeseen events, just click on the link below, fill out the short 60-second questionnaire, and you can talk to one of our estate planning specialists.